Okay, I am going to install this hood stick cover, and I've been doing a lot of planning and research, and this is what I've found. First off, I ordered a lot of stuff from the Roadster Factory, so I went ahead and got this from the Magic Carpet Factory. It comes with this cover, and it comes with the lift the dots. So I've never done lift the dot fasteners. I've installed a boot cover on a Spitfire before. I've been watching some YouTube videos of installing hoods and so on, and it seems like it always comes out a little bit baggy in places. So I decided to really think this through. So this is the test fit. And the first thing you need to figure out is the bow positioning. The bow here can be positioned a number of different ways. In Roger Williams' book, it shows that the bow should be positioned this flat, with this part of it right up even with the piping. I tried that. When I tried that and test fit it, I discovered that you end up with this big wind tunnel puff here, and this doesn't quite sit in, and it'll come off, and you get this big thing. I think this cover, I think when the Roadster Factory made it, I think they had this all the way down. Let's see if I can go back down now, like this. So that will hold it down tight like this, and will also provide a much tighter cover here, and that'll put that lift the dot right there. So I'm going to do mine with the bow sticks pushed down in order to keep this section done, to get this fitment right. The other thing that's important is that you've got this channel, and I think you want these lift the dot snaps installed pretty kind of in this center in this channel. And if you're not careful about how you do it, you might have them way up here, which doesn't seem right to me. So there's all that going on. So we've got the snaps along the back and here, and there's one interior snap that goes on this peg right here. There's a flap here that tucks under, and it goes on this peg right here. So we've got these around the edge, and those on either corner, and that keeps then the rest of the bow, this cover, is just tucked up under the bow straps like this, the bows. The other thing we need to talk about is the orientation of these dots. According to Roger Williams' book, you want to lift from the dot, and the dot is supposed to be going away from the center. So the dot goes this way, the dot faces this way on this side, that way on that side, so that when you lift the dots. The other thing is that some people put these on vertically like this. They're supposed to go on horizontally like this. So we've got the orientation of the snaps. Snap installation tools. So I have down here my installation tools. The first tool I'm going to use is I'm going to I'll pull this over, and I'll mark where the peg goes with this chalk marker. I borrowed it from my wife. I didn't tell her I did. The second tool is I have some tools I inherited. I have a hole punch, and it has a hole in the side, and I've been trying it, and it works rather well. I'll put the vinyl on like this, and with the hole punch, and tap it, and if I rotate it like this, it'll cut the hole. Once the hole is cut, and the hole has to be big enough so that the peg fits through there. And the other thing that's kind of interesting is the peg. This hole is not in the center. So how do you make sure you install that right? And you've got these little tabs on the back that get folded in. So you've got all those to cut, and I didn't want to do those manually. I ended up building my own tool. You can get for $80, you can get a tool from Moss to do this, but I built one, and I'll have a separate video on how I built this. But this is basically a couple pieces of oak and an old hinge inset in. These are 4 screws that I ground with a Dremel cutoff wheel into the right shape, and a piece of tubing. And basically the idea of this tool is you set it, you punch your hole, and then you set your piece of vinyl there, and then you can do this and push. It'll cut your 4 holes perfectly aligned, like that. And now I can put my and one side's shorter, that's the shorter side. The legs are closer together, that's this side. I can put this now, will just fit nicely into those holes like this, and I'll be able to bend them in. So that's my snap installation tools. I haven't tried it on the thicker part yet. I may have to add to my toolkit. I've got a little razor knife that I may need to go for some of the thicker ones. So the order of installation for this that I came up with is, first off, is where's your fixed point that can't be a problem when you're done. You can sometimes some slop. I think this is the most important fixed point right here, where you don't want this to be wrong and have this pocket be able to come loose. So I'm going to install, and I used to install carpet when I was in my 20s, and this was the same principle. You want to get the most persnickety point first. So I'm going to go ahead and install this peg first. Then the question goes is how, and I'll do it on both sides. What some people do is they install these first, and I go, that's crazy, because this is the problem that's going to be first. So I'll do these first. And now the question is, how do we get the tension around the outside equal? If you do this, you're not installing that under tension, and you're not going to be equal. If you do the middle, mark the middle. So I will mark the middle and make sure the middle is aligned. But I'm going to do these like I would with carpet. I'm going to do this corner. I'm going to do this corner, and I'm going to do that corner, and that'll put this under tension, and it'll put this whole back one under tension. And that way, with those under tension, I can then divide. And my wife is a dressmaker, or she used to make dresses. She made a wedding dress. She helped me with this principle here, is you want to, so you start here, you start there, then you do the middle, and then you cut that in half, and then you cut that in half, and keep doing, and keep cutting in half, and that splits your tension, and that should give us a nice even tension all the way around, and should avoid getting a big baggy wrinkle like you see on some installs like that. So and then the very last one I'm going to install is going to be this one here, because it doesn't really matter if this moves around, to the final fitment. It doesn't matter if it's one way or the other, centered or so on. So I'll do this one last. So that's the plan, that's the strategy. Am I going to do this in the heat? No. There's not. The reason I'm not going to do this in the heat is like I would a regular top, is because there's no room to stretch farther. If I, when I test fit this, the snaps fit in this in the middle of this channel. They fit here correctly. If I do it in the heat and stretch it, I'll end up with snaps. Stretch it, I'll end up with the snaps pulled way up into the seam here. So I don't think this should be installed, and it's not under tension in the install anyway. It's not under stress with the bows. So I'm going to install this cold the way it is. Otherwise, it'll just be wrong. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and install. These, the peg on this side and the peg on that side.